speed to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild. The moonlight, summer sky, it was the best we ever had. And we'll stay on forever.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, we should have audio. Yeah, we do have audio. Good afternoon. It's 18 minutes past 2 p.m. here in the Netherlands. And it's been a busy Monday. It's been a busy Monday. Yeah, not much more to say though. It's just been a busy Monday with work. Good morning, Susan, and good morning, Jennifer. Wonderful to see you, ladies. Oh my goodness, my magnet in my watch wanted to kind of get stuck on my tablet. I just want to make sure that everything is running. So what I usually do is I always have my stream running in the background as well on my tablet to kind of help with that. The plan for today is to continue working on the ultimate sacrifice shawl. And I reached the stage yesterday where I am about, I wouldn't say to yet change color, but I'm finally at the place where I have to attach the first of the leftover cakes from the GingerTea Cowl. I'm just debating right now on how I should proceed best by doing so. It's right here, as you can see, there's not much left. But let me just quickly hold this one up so you can see how far I've gotten. This is currently how we're looking. And I cut the yarn at the end of the cake because I had the color change coming up. And I do have these small balls of leftovers from a similar cake, or the exact same cake technically seen. But I didn't use up the rest of this on the other cake for the project, and I wanted not to just throw it in my scrap pile. So I dissected the colors, and I'm going to add this to this current cake to help, basically to help prolong the length. And this would be the ball I need to attach. So the only thing I'm debating right now is if I'm going to make one big attachment, or if I should kind of prolong it a bit to have like multiple small knots, though that would be more to weave in. Yeah, but I'd rather also not just have one big knot. I don't know. Suggestions? I'm basically debating, should I do one or the other? And I am actually going to unravel just a little bit of what I've done to give me a little bit more yarn to work with for this transition. So the real question is, do I want to, because when this yarn changes color, they take them individually piece by piece, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm using up the little balls, Susan. That's definitely going to be it. It's the question is how I want to attach them. The question is generally how I want to attach them. I do believe I've used the magic knot before. But yeah, I'm just not. I'd rather not have any knots at all, if that makes sense. So the benefit, of course, if I'm placing them like with a little bit of distance between the knots, then maybe it seems less bad, if that makes sense. Like if I have the same length and I just place a couple of inches between each knot for these 4 strands. That's my thinking right now. Chinese ad. That's interesting. That is definitely interesting. So that is what I'm debating, like, would I do 4 knots or would I want to make one big one? So yeah, that's my big question. A Chinese ad for TikTok. Right. I could, I guess, attempt a magic knot. Yeah. That yeah, because if I have to knot the individual strands, that's a lot of extra work, isn't it? No, I wouldn't want extra work. I don't like extra work. Um, it depends on how I hide the joints in my work. I tend just to weave my ends in, right? But hello and good afternoon. Hello, wonderful to have you with us. So I'm challenged. Generally, I'm challenged. I've been thinking about this since last night, and then I went to bed, and of course, the nights is always too short. And I woke up and I started working, and I forgot completely about this. Now I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I need to make a decision. Okay, so let's pop down so you guys can actually see what I guess. Oh, that was my webcam almost popping off my screen. That was not the intention. 3.5mm hook is what we're working with. Let's see, we need to go this direction to be a bit more centered. So this is the end I have, plus this is the new end. And obviously when this new end is done, we have one. So right now here we have like 3 medium blue and 1 dark blue strand. Then I have one here that's 2 medium blues, 2 dark blues. That will be added on afterwards, because on the end of this one, I can then add on the cake and go all the way on that cake, including the following color change. And then I'll have to add on this one. And then I can add on this one plus the last bit. So the idea is obviously to need to do as few knots over time as possible, because that is definitely something that is of preference. But yeah, so here we have the first ball and we have the second ball, and I guess we will be magic knotting somehow. At least that was the plan. Except now I have a ton of yarns to keep track of. That's just not the ideal world here. And I don't do them that often. Susan says, Dina, you can be a purist and not make any knots and just work in the new strands. Yeah, that's kind of what I tend to usually do. I could do that, I guess, and then just add them over and have a little bit of a double strand piece. Or I'll see how it goes with the magic knot, and then I see if I like how that turns out, and if I don't like how it turns out, I'll unravel it and then work in the end of the strands. Choices, but I kind of like the idea of just actually crocheting them in, to be honest, because the thought of needing to do more knots than needed is not something that's inclining me. Jennifer says she would use the biggest bowl first. Jennifer, I'm using the colorways as they normally transition throughout the cakes. And the biggest ball I have is the last color left on the cake. Therefore, it's not that color going on because the color won't be gradient. So I'm using the colors as this gradient come and what was left on the other cakes. So the gradients are still matching up correctly in the correct order. And that's kind of the idea, because I do, next to this, also have this that I need to add in. And this is the gradients. So these bowls are the gradients from this cake, but a different cake used for a different project. So now I'm just adding these here to this project because it's a project where I am practically able to do it and get extra size to the shawl. So that's why I chose to do so. No, they're not the same color. No. Unfortunately, then it would have been easy, and then I wouldn't have had like 4 of them. I would just have like added them on one another. I don't like the idea of making knots, to be honest. So far, it's not come undone when I weave ends together, because I tend to weave my stuff very well together. So I should and could just proceed with the idea that I should be fine, right? So that is what we'll do. I will be fine, and we will just do them together. Let's see. I did increase the previous row, so I'm skipping 2 here, or 4, technically speaking. Now we need to check. So I don't have that much yarn left here. There's a decent tail to weave in, but it's perfect to add our other friend here. So normally what I would do is basically take one stitch where I kind of sort of double strand them, and then I'll leave the other one falling down, and then I'll weave all the ends in together at the end, in different directions and all that stuff, to make it much more difficult for them to come undone, which only leaves me like one stitch that's a slightly bit ever so thicker than the rest. And honestly, unless you really start looking for it, you wouldn't know it's there. So I think that is basically what I'll be doing. The downside is, of course, I have to weave in ends, but I would have had to do that with the knot as well. Or I would have cut the yarn, but then I'm always so afraid when I make knots that I cut too close to the knot and they will come undone. So I guess I'd rather have a longer tail to weave in and do a longer weaving in. And I've proven to myself so many times and to everybody else that when I do weave in ends, they don't come undone. So I just need to trust myself, and that's it. And say, hey, they won't come undone. So what I will do here is I am gonna make a little knot between the two of them here, or make a little bow tie just to keep the strands collected until that they're woven in. This is just more for my own to keep them a little bit of track. So what's gonna happen is once this ball is done, we are gonna have a color change. And that, my friends, is official because that is the last bits. Then we will add the next small ball before we then will add the big cake again. And we'll go through a color construction on the big cake. And then we will cut the yarn to make room for the other piece. So yeah, we do have plans. How far we will get there in this live, I don't know. But I know that this one will definitely get used, and we will see how far we get. It's all a bit dependent on that. Let's see. I have a feeling that I should pull you guys a bit closer because I tend to lean back a bit and put you a little bit up, size wide, height wide. So I hope you guys are doing well and having something interesting to craft on these days. As I said, it's one of the Mondays where I do go live. I do have a few things to do for the week. I also played Yarn Chicken and I lost it for another project, but I will tell you about that another good time. And then I found this new knitting project, the yarn that I want to use for a couple of beanies. So I just need to get started on it, but I just haven't gotten around casting on yet. One of the reasons that I do want to knit a couple of more hats is I have to admit, after I got the double pointed needles, I do enjoy closing off the projects with those. While it is a few more to keep track of, I felt it was rather successful closing off with them. Or let's put it like this, I was a lot less frustrated while closing off. And yes, I could use a magic loop for knitting. But yeah, it's just much more pulling in strands and so on. I think I'd prefer the double pointed needle concept, to be honest. So that is probably what I'll keep doing. Then also I bought some knitting needles for my mom. And it's basically the knitting needles I'd love to get for myself, with the tiny exception is that she has them in a bit longer version. And I had them out just to feel them and to check if the wires I had would fit on, just in case. Though unfortunately they don't, but it would be a cheap solution if you wanted to get some extra extension wires. And I have to say, those Jajor, like Knit Pro's Jajor Cubics, the wood of those needles feels amazing. It really does. So yeah, I am a little bit jealous. And the challenge is, of course, some of the projects I'd like to knit, I do need shorter cables for, and I want the special length, which is a little bit shorter. So, like knitting needle wise, the needles themselves are a bit shorter, making it easier to make small circumferences. So yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, I may very well put them on my wish list. The reason I got them is because, believe it or not, we could save like a whooping, I think, 10 to 15 euros by getting them via Amazon sent to me in the Netherlands than buying them and getting them sent to my mom in Denmark. So I am bringing those needles with me home when I am going home in about 2.5 weeks. Oh, 1.5 weeks time. Time is flying fast. Sunday next week is my next trip home. So now we are just away from the shells, and it's just 2 double crochets, chain 2, 2 double crochets until we get to the tip. Then it depends if it's an even or an uneven row. And to be honest, I don't keep track. I just see it when I'm there. I can see it on the pattern if it's an increased row or if it's not an increased row. But this bit is generally progressing faster than the others. Let's see, I need to keep track. Of course, we also have Nightbot here if you want to share with us your local weather, for example. Here it's about, should be about 23, 24 degrees Celsius, which is probably reasonably accurate. It is somewhat sunny, which is a nice thing. Tomorrow it's going to be a bit warmer, but less sun. And I had wanted to put up and have the door open for outside, but I decided to close it because I don't know who it is, but someone in our street is doing something that makes a lot of noise. And I didn't want to share all the background noises with you guys. But I can definitely tell that here it's a little bit extra noisy. So the weather for New Jersey right now is mostly cloudy with a temperature of 68 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 20 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from southwest at 4 miles per hour and the current humidity is 96. I would say it either has just been raining or it's going to rain quite soon in New Jersey. Let's see, in Nijmegen, which is not too far off where I live. And I see that Jen also asked for a weather update, but I'm not sure if the zip code is recognized by Nightbot. You might either need to type in a city name or more of the zip code. But for Nijmegen, where I live, is 23 degrees Celsius or 73 degrees Fahrenheit. The wind is blowing from east at 4 miles per hour and the current humidity is of 40, and it's partly cloudy here, which I think is a pretty accurate one. The weather conditions for Hull in the UK is sunny with a temperature of 79 degrees Fahrenheit, so 26 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from south at 12 miles per hour and the current humidity is 34. So it's a little bit more windy at Jen's place, but it's definitely also a bit warmer and it's sunny. So that's nice. That's something different. Usually the UK is quite cloudy or rainy or misty or so it's always wonderful when you experience the UK in a sunny day. And I don't know if it's just something they say, but I have to admit that I have had quite a few rainy days the times I've visited the UK, so I wouldn't be surprised if it's indeed a general thing. I do apologize. I did hit my microphone. Hope the audio didn't went totally nuts at your place. It's a fourth heat wave this year in the UK. Yeah, the weather has been crazy, to be honest, this year. It's definitely been up and down as well here in the Netherlands. It's really been changing a lot. Even experienced a heat wave in Denmark, which kind of surprises me, of course, because Denmark is not exactly known for being super warm, but it's been pretty decent the times I've been here this year. And most of the time it's actually also been dry, like it's been good weather for our travels. So that's positive too. Um, but yeah, chugging along on the shawl. I still have this dream that I will finish this week, sometime this week. So before the end of August, that would be amazing. Absolutely amazing. If I'll make that, that depends on how the rest of the flow here goes. And of course, that I don't make any mistakes. I need to unravel. Now that would be horrible. That's also why I didn't weave in the ends yet, because I tend to need to, like, when I weave in my ends too early, I always have to unravel. So I've just learned not to weave in my ends earlier than later. My poncho has a similar fan point edging. Oh, nice. What poncho are you making? Like, do you have a pattern name for it, Jen? And Susan says, I'm making Ellen's Crochet Nella's cape for the nursing home donation. That sounds nice too. Ravelry pattern or? Ooply daisy. Good morning, oddballs. Wonderful to see you, Liza. Hope you're doing good. And good morning to Gwen. I also hope you're having a great morning. The Calming Waves poncho. I need to pop onto Ravelry, I think. I have a feeling that Ravelry is calling my name. So I will pop on Ravelry. And we could do this view. And then we can have a look together. We are looking for Calming Waves poncho. Oh, there was one. It's just doing funky. That was not what I said. That would be this one, I think. By Crochet Dreams. Or not. That Jen is currently making, I think. Looks nice though. I like it. That is definitely a nice, gorgeous one. Are you also in like in a teal blue, light blue colorway, or are you having a different colorway? I like it. It's nice. Normally by Loops and Threads. But I guess you can use basically any DK weight yarn for this one. Gorgeous. I might just as well put this one in my favorites. You never know, sometimes you get ideas. Then we have Ellen's Crochet Nella's Cape. Nella's crochet, well, I should say Nella's Cape by Nella's Crochet. There we have it. Yes, please. I love capes. It's like ponchos, but without being fully closed. I can definitely align with a poncho. I actually have some yarn where I'm like, This would probably be great for poncho, and it's a free download. Love it even more. Made in the line brand Basic Stitch Anti-Pilling. Do I know that, Jan? Maybe. I don't have a lot of, I don't have much. I only have like, I think I have maybe, no, I have some line brand, but not this one. Basic Stitch. It's just a classic Aran weight yarn, 100 grams to 170 meters in acrylic. I could probably find like a similar yarn, even though not Basic Stitch. It's like nice, it's an anti-pilling, but of course it doesn't mean you need to use the same yarn as they recommend. I just like to look at the yarns, but I like this one. It looks nice. And an Aran weight works up a little bit in a decent pace. So yep, I put it on my favorites because you'll never know. You never know. So it's been favorized. Of course, who knows? Maybe I decide to make it too one day. This is one of the reasons I really love these lives is you guys inspire me, just like I guess I sometimes inspired you. For this one, I was definitely inspired. Ponchos, always nice to have a poncho. I still remember I made this big with alpaca yarn, flowers of alpaca, 2 years ago almost, a year and a half ago. I started on it Christmas 2 years ago. I have though promised this year for Christmas that I will try to craft less during the Christmas Eve event. I will bring stuff with me to craft, but that for the event itself, I've kind of promised to craft a bit less because apparently I wasn't as social according to my partner, so I will try to be a bit more social this year. I guess we all weren't that social because half of the family was crafting while we were waiting for others to unpack their presents, which I think is kind of valid. It's not something we should be doing. We should be paying attention to everyone and be more present that you sometimes can be when you're crafting. So that's for next time around. I am doing well, thank you, Liza. I'm doing very well. Mine is darker blue and white. Okay. Still on the sock knitting adventure? Cool. Did you finish some socks since last time I spoke to you? I am not by any means on a sock adventure. The last time I attempted socks was when I crocheted them, and I did that 2.5 years ago. And I still have them, but I must admit that I don't use them. But I do have them, which I guess is a cool part. I did it. Done. Check. Did I have a need to make more of them? Not really. It's more like I can say I've made it. But I guess I'm not a keen sock knitter, nor in this case I crocheted them. I think I'd like to learn to knit socks at some stage, but not right now. Not right now. Maybe it helps when I'm getting more used to holding on the double pointed needles. So when like closing off the projects, then that can help me get more familiar with it for doing the socks. Of course, you can do socks on circular needles as well, but I think I'd like to be able to do both. Or I need some extra short circular ones. Oh, I've done lots of socks. Almost finished my 4th pair. Well, you are a busy lady then, on the sock point of view. Jen says she's knitting a dog coat today, trying to get it finished Friday. Due to the weather, or is it going as a present somewhere and you'll see them this weekend, or is it for your own dog? Or Susan says I definitely need to try knitted socks. Maybe I should, but it's not going to be this year. I can tell you that. But I may. I do actually have sock yarn upstairs in my stash. So I could technically jump into it. And that said, now I've been to the hobby store twice in Roskilde, and their summer sock yarn might actually be something I'll be keen on trying. So maybe I should consider that. I will think. I will think on that. But I really like the feeling of that sock yarn, but I would want to get it on sale, obviously, because honestly, hobby yarns are so damn expensive if you're not getting it on sale. And that makes me feel horrible for all you guys in the US with there are all these talks now if stores are going to ship to the US or not, with the de minimis being removed. It's a challenge with Lala and Ellen. Okay. Good morning, Revenant. Good morning. Wonderful to see you. Hope you're doing great. From what I've seen, if you do socks on circular needle, you still need to use double point needles to close the toe. I can imagine that. I can definitely imagine that. And when I did the 3 colorway, well, 3-stranded held together chunky beanie, I used double pointed needles, closed it off for the first time, like ever. Tried that, and I do admit, while I was challenged, I was less frustrated than when doing it with a circular magic loop concept. Hella says she just had an advertisement for Hobbii, which is, I guess, pretty convenient given the fact that I just said Hobbii. I should wonder if YouTube listens to us. Maybe it does. I'm also knitting Premier Yarn's Color Waves Baby Blanket in line brand basic stitch, 1 skein per stripe. Nice. Jen says, doing all my socks on 9-inch circular and don't use double point needles on toes ever. Okay. Do you use a specific brand when you do them? Like a specific brand of needles you use, Jen, or what are you up for? What I also noticed is the ultra short circular needles from Knit Pro. I'm like, oh my goodness, but they only come down to like a certain size. Lisa says, just got a bunch of cotton merino sock yarn on a fantastic sale from Premier Yarns. We all like good sales. We definitely all like a good sale. I could use a good sale. Reverence. So Jen says she uses Knit Pro. Are they like shorter shorter needles, or are they regular length before the wire joint? Reverend says, I'm working on the back panel of a cardigan for the wife. Took her to Walmart and let her pick out the yarn on Saturday, and she picked Premier Puzzle yarn in the colorway Seashore. It's a beautiful color blaze of blues, tans, and whites. Oh, that sounds gorgeous. I am keen to see the end result of that. Who wouldn't like, oh my goodness, anyone could come and give me a cardigan or a poncho or whatnot. I'm a person that's generally a little bit extra cold in the winter. I should make extra ponchos actually, or an extra warm cardi, just for home use. I do have some yarns that I could potentially use for it in my stash, of course. Um, but I haven't really, like, I have a few yarns that I haven't fully decided on what their purpose in life will be. Not yet, at least. Of many sizes in Knit Pro, beautiful to work with, slimline. Okay. As I said, I just got the Knit Project doors for my mom. They're upstairs though, so I can't even say, hey, have a look. I am though quite happy with the Cubics ones that I got for myself. They are not from Knit Pro though, and that is the reason that I'm really contemplating on getting the Knit Pro Cubics, because of the feel of that wood. Oh my goodness. Good morning, Megan. Wonderful to see you. Lisa says she's new to the Knit Pro Sings double pointed needles. Rona says it's for a make along, so it'll be a few weeks in the making, but given we live in Texas and it won't be until late October before the temps drop down to 25 degrees plus, it's no real rush. Yeah, that makes good sense. I remember I took part in a make along. Well, the pattern was a free choice. And it was like perfect. I had like 10 different colors or 9 different colors, or and then they had like 10 weeks or something like that. So it was perfect. I just had to do like one color a week for the make along, which I did. So that was pretty cool actually. That ended up really, really well. That's and there were prizes though. I didn't land in the prizes, but I really liked the end result of it. It was a gorgeous one. It was a jasmine tea shawl by Red Teapot Atelier that I made. Last year I finished it in April. Susan knitted a pair of socks in the Premier Cotton College. So sounds like there's a couple of ladies familiar with the same yarns here. US people, could you tell me a little bit of the like? I noticed I have a place where I can get some of the Lion Brand yarns for a reasonable price, considering the fact that I'm in the EU. Um, are there anyone I really want to avoid? Ronan says choosing my favorite hook for this, and it's the Addy Swing Maxi 6mm J hook. Love these German style hooks. I'm not keen of the swing hooks, but if you have large hands, I can very warm recommend, and long fingers and so on. I'd recommend the what are they called? Prims, the prim hooks from like, let's see if I can find them on Hobbie's website. I do apologize, not necessary to make advertisement for Hobbii, but I'll pop over here and find them for you because I know they have them. They're ergonomic woolen hooks, technically seen. That would be the Addy Swings Crochet. That would be similar, I guess. But these from Prim, not necessarily their 15mm hook, but these Prim hooks, they are really nice for if you have large hands. I got them in a batch, like you can buy them in a pack of multiple, like these. It's sold out, but for the matter of the speaking, this is a really nice size if you have large hands. I can recommend. But the downside of them is it's quite plasticky, and they will squeak a bit depending on the yarn. Personally, I use the Clover Soft Touch. I don't know if they're here. Yeah, they're here up here. I quite like these personally. So this is my current hook. It's also Clover Soft Touch, the one I use. I've been recommended the, I do believe, oh, what are they called? Clover More, to try out those. I haven't done that yet. But I can imagine either then maybe making your own hooks or add extra length or something could work as well. Lisa says I'm using Universal Yarns Fillet. I believe it's very similar to Cotton College. Revenant says I can palm a basketball. I've tried the Prim and I don't care for them. Fair enough. Fair enough. I tried something similar to what are they called? Big brand, fancy hooks. They're like $30+ a piece. Not of fire, the other ones. I had some in aluminium. I tried them, quite similar. Probably great for big hands. I don't care for them either. I think they're too heavy. Jen has one Adidas Circular in her collection as well. Lisa has some Prim and Swing. Don't prefer either. My favorite is Clover and More. But she has teeny baby hands. Well, I have actually pretty small hands too. My fingers are rather short and my hand palm isn't big either. And I think very few people have a smaller hand than me. I'm like tiny size wise. We could for fun actually do a measuring, because now when we are talking about so measuring from tip of my palm to end is like 7 inches at best. So from here to longest place of my index, it's like 7 inches. Furls, thank you. Yes, furls. So I'm not a big caring for furls, because those similar hooks were, I think, the shaft were too long compared to the place I had to work with. And somebody then told me it's because I hold it wrong on my hook, and I'm like, well. Clover makes fantastic hooks, but they're just too small for my massive mitts, so I get hand cramps using them. Yeah, I can understand, because I actually think the shaft here should be a little bit larger, like a little bit longer. And I have tiny hands, and I'd like for it to go out, but it doesn't. It doesn't. I want a 3mm Prim from Canada, but I can't use it as it needs a flat space for my thumb. Okay, so you're like a pencil holder, where I'm a knife gripper. Lion brand will ship outside of the US. Yes, the thing is, just when I import things from the US, the amount of import tax I will have to pay is crazy. I'll have to pay 21% on top, plus the shipping, plus the declaration fees. Oh, that was a stitch too many. Yeah. So that's my challenge when I get from the US. So I'd rather find a dealer in the EU that resells things from the US, because I won't have to pay additional import taxes. If that makes any sense. So let's say I buy Lion brand for $100, or Mary Maxims for that matter, but I buy yarn in the US for $100, then I'll have to pay something like it's 18 or 21 euros declaration fee, and then I have to pay 21% on top. That means that I need to pay for the shipping as well. That's also probably included, but just let's disregard shipping right now. So I'd probably have to pay about 40 plus euros import on the $100 purchase. And I didn't account for shipping fees, which is also like $50 to $60. So $100 yarn would cost me 200. So if I only need a few balls, for example, and the price is close to similar to the price in the US or not much more, I can get so much more yarn before it's actually worth for me importing it myself, if that makes sense. We're all measuring our hands right now. Jen also doesn't like the furls. Brennan said, had a measurement tip here since you're making variable. Why not? 10 inches tip of finger to butt of my palm. 9 inches is like here, from here to here, which is like, look, that's the difference, right? That's crazy. That's 2 extra inches. You can't even see it, but my goodness. My fingers just aren't that long. So yeah, I'm a size small slash extra small depending on what type of brand of gloves that I have to wear. Susan also wants a thumb indent. That's classic, the classic type of the pencil holders, I guess. I'm less bothered about it. But I guess also partly hooked in the shaft. Don't ask me why, but yeah. So most of us doesn't seem to like frills. I guess that's something. We are all on the same bandwagon here. I don't hope anyone feels left outside, because they aren't a big fan of frills. A couple of different styles of frills too. They're too long and heavy for me. Yeah, that's my thinking, that will be the same for me, based on the hooks that I tried out. I'm actually debating if I should take those hooks and just put them up for sale. Because obviously I personally know that I won't be using them. We're just too apart, if that makes sense, for a good usage. Susan is a bit surprised, I think, about me importing yarn from the US based on the aspects. Stay using EU, and yeah, that's why I want to stay using at least some of the yarns from the. It has to make sense, right? So in the event of like ice yarns, I also have to pay import for ice, but ice actually handles it for you, so I don't have the extra decoration fees. I only have the actual extra added value, that tax, which is nice, but it's still quite expensive because ice has quite expensive shipping. But that's just how shipping is. Shipping is expensive. I haven't bought from ice in quite some while. I do have ice yarns in my stash, and I do intend to get some of that used as well. But it's not my top priority right now. Tax go up on the 29th for shipping. Well, the US is removing the de minimis on the 29th, and that is basically saying that before, the US normal people, regular people, non-business people, so you and me could buy anything from outside of the US and not having to pay import tax as long as it was below $800. Now that is fully gone from the 29th, and they will have to pay a set percentage or a set fee depending on the choice, I guess, of the company handling the shipping. And therefore, a lot of stores is optioning now to no further send to the US until there is a more clarity as to how this is going to be handled, which I totally agree and understand. Another issue is there are some companies that will make, even some shipping companies that will stop sending to the US because apparently the rumor says that it's for the shipping company to take care of a place for it to be stored until it's been handled by customs. And there are some companies, I think, that's not willing to do that. Maybe only the bigger ones will do. Which also means that if I wanted to do a giveaway now, I wouldn't be able to do it and include the US because obviously I wouldn't want to have the US being stuck on needing to pay a big hefty fee just to receive a gift that they got from me. Chloe Moore hooks are my favorite, Susan says. I've been recommended Chloe Moores, so maybe I will end up trying them one day. Jen says she wanted a 7mm frills from Granny D, only used it once. Yeah, I don't know what I would use a 7mm for in any case, to be honest. It's not a size that I use very often. But then also it did give you an idea of the hooks. I think my end conclusion is just that I'm probably not gonna do it. Frills are good quality, but in the end of the hooks ends up in my palm stabbing me when I try to use it, so not the biggest fan. Yeah, no stabbing. No good. Third ads, but I'm on my phone. I don't know, do they show more ads on the phone then? That could be, Jen. I didn't put on any aggressive advertisements, it's just the normal one I run. Like, average, so to say. Let me know if it gets really, really bad. Susan's priority is to use up my yarn stash before I think of getting more yarn. Well, that is sort of my priority with a few exceptions here and there. But generally, I'm trying to use up my yarn or have very clear stated projects for what I'm doing. If I'm getting anything. I was actually in a store last week and I was like, oh, I could get yarn. And I was like, no, you cannot because you have plenty. And I didn't get any. So I'm proud of myself for not getting any. Lisa says Ice does have high shipping, but compared to yarn prices here, if I order enough from them, it's still a good price for me. But I know other places it's not. Yeah, it depends on the yarn. Some of the yarns are the same yarns but run by other brands, and sometimes I can find those cheaper from a European store. I never have gotten ice yarn, but I want Picasso in the dark purples, but apparently that is made with unicorn blood and Obantanium since it's been out of stock for the last 7 months. Sorry. It must be an Obtanium, definitely, because that was hilarious. They have a nice rainbow one as well in Picasso. I do admit that. I think I've bought from Ice maybe 8 or 9 times over the years. And I definitely have some yarns in my stash upstairs. And Would I want to add more? Love it. Do I have room for it? No. Will I be adding more? Probably not. Not within foreseeable future. Um, that would only be if I knew for sure that I could resell it or something like that. I've tried to use my stash, my yarn stash, but I keep getting free yarn, mostly left over, sometimes full balls from a friend. Yeah, it's always so free yarn is always good, right? Like we cannot just say no to free yarn. I haven't experienced receiving much free yarn, unfortunately. I wish, but no free yarn here. That said, that's not true. I did actually 2 years ago. I got a very nice sending of yarn from the US, and that it contained some US yarns, and I went through it, and I have a video on it. I got a bunch of stuff in that as well. It was stuffed to the brim, the box I got. So that is a few US yarns that I do actually have. I think they were from Hobby Lobby sale, maybe. So there would be a reason for me to, at some stage, start using it. But I'm at the same time they're extra precious to me because they are extra rare. It's not easy for us to get some of those US yarns, even though many of those yarns are probably made in Turkey. I'm trying to use my stash as well. I've run out of storage space. Yep, same basket here, Lisa. There is just, well, I could probably squeeze in some storage space, but it's not wise of me to do so. In fact, I need to empty out some of my storage space. So I have an excuse to buy new yarn, I guess. I don't know. I bought ice from Turkey, reasonable prices. Yeah, the prices of the yarn are reasonable. The shipping is horrendous. And the fact that I live in the EU adds import tax on it. So I pay more for the ice than, not from the 29th, but until the 29th, the people in, for example, the US do. I don't know if there's any trade treaty between Turkey and the UK. Susan loves shopping her stash. I need to shop my stash more often. I should probably, I don't know, I could make a video on that. Shop my stash. But my stash is kind of split over the whole house, so boom. Just saying. It all has its hooks and crevices where there's a little bit of room, and then there's a box of yarn there and a box of yarn there. It's like extra insulation to the house. Jen says, me too, Lisa. Now I have totes on the floor and too many VIPs and UFOs taking up in the room. I actually don't have that many VIPs and UFOs laying around. I'm pretty good on that. I do have a few ongoing projects, but there's a limitation. So as I said, I used Yarn Chicken this week, and it's an UFO until at some stage I have there is either a good sale or I have collected enough yarns that I want to get from a specific store, then I can buy the extra skein that I'm missing to finish up that project, because I don't want to unravel it. Lisa dispatched almost of her Simply Soft to her daughter. She loves it. I don't, so win-win for us both. I have a whole suitcase of Simply Soft that I got on a really good deal from a person here in the Netherlands that was stopping her hobby, her crochet hobby. Lots of different colors. And yeah, I bought it. I did have some Simply Soft that I used for another project in the past, so I decided, yeah, why not get that? Because, well, I'm probably considering maybe I should try knit hats from it. Free yarn is fun, but very challenging to use as quantities, maybe unknown or varied. Definitely, especially if you have them in balls. Like, well, right now I'm working on balls, right? It's all balls. I have an idea of it. Hello, Michael. Thank you so much for your kind words. I always love being called a sweetheart. Hope you're having a great morning. I can't believe how well you're doing. At least your tutorial seems to be awesome. So when I think I will try Tunisian crochet before I'm trying to knit socks. Everybody greeting Michael. Jen says, lately I've been giving away yarn to a friend for charities, so decluttering as well. I should declutter some, but I do have some yarns. I do believe that's actually ice, which is unknown quantity as well. It's just like a skein of, it was like on a big sale discounted pack. And I'm debating if I should just like multiple strand them, and I'll knit beanies with it. I tried to declutter by selling, but not many were interested. So yeah, sucks losing yarn chick, but it's an excuse to buy yarn. That's my only excuse, I guess. No, not completely. It's I placed a note for myself, or if it happens, then probably it's gonna be a whip until, let's say, September sometime. That is, if the store comes with the regular September sales, I am probably gonna make an order with them in September, and then obviously I'll just throw in that extra skein. When that type of yarn is on sale, the price I'll pay versus the discount is maybe 20 cents. I can save 25 cents by waiting for that to go on sale, unless I'm so lucky it's also on sale and all the rest is on sale. We'll have to see. Karen Simply Soft is nice for blankets. Yep, I can imagine. I had a pattern once for a top, and that definitely did not look nice. It was way too chunky for what I thought it would be. Scrap yarn projects are fun. I just did a granny blanket with scrap yarns huddling two colors together, holding two colors together, ended up looking like saltwater taffy candy. Nice. Megan Miller says, love UK yarn. Stylecraft Special is my favorite for blankets. Stylecraft Special DK is what I am currently using for my fleur. I don't have fleur in the neighborhood, but I do actually have some of the yarn. For those curious, I just need to move around a bit on my boxes. I do have, it's caked up, but that's because I use them on my yarn spinner for those projects. It's much easier. This would be the yarn. Stylecraft Special DK by Stylecraft, obviously. 100 gram skeins. So this is the 100 gram skein fully caked up, 3.5 ounces to 320 yards. Anti-pilling, 100% anti-pilling premium acrylic. Recommending a 4mm hook. And I tell you, this is nice and soft. And it comes in so many lovely color variations. For Megan, if you need alternate color options for what the Stylecraft doesn't offer, then I do believe that the Scheepjes color craft is the exact same yarn. And they may have some different colorings in it. Lisa says the reason I don't care for Simply Soft is it pills really bad, in my opinion, but everyone should use what they like. If somebody likes Simply Soft, I'm happy for them. I just got it because it was a great deal when I got it. Um, I'll admit that. Um, one reason why I do challenges to help use up yarn, but I never see a dent in my stash yet. It's because you get free yarn, sweetie. That's my best guess. It's because you get free yarn. Jen says hi to Megan. Michael says, waiting till the Black Friday sales to stock back up on yarns. Won't buy any until then. Great plan. I love to join in on that one. Reality is I'm probably not able to wait that long. I don't think I'll get much for the Black Friday sales. I should actually probably consider saving up. Plus, my situation may have changed by then. And why am I saying it like that? Is because Black Friday is in the end of November, and in the end of November is when my contract with my job expires. So maybe, maybe not, maybe I will be unemployed by then, and then I won't be getting any yarn. Or maybe I have my contract extended, and then maybe I'll spoil myself with a little bit of yarn. It's so soft and anti-pilling. It is. It's nice. So Stylecraft, Special DK, or Scheepjes a color crafter. Let me see if I can just find it for you. Actually, they have it on the web shop too. It's in Dutch though, but they might actually have a, oh no, they have a thing you can like put it into English. I just need to accept my cookies. Yarn, come on. Color crafter. And they even have the color craft also comes, they have some ombre types or variegated types of yarn, which I think looks really nice too, but they're a little bit more expensive. But for those curious, here's the link to the Schrepje site, to their color crafter. And that's basically like the Stylecraft Special DK yarns. It's exactly the same yarn. It's premium acrylic anti-pilling, DK weight, 4mm hooks, 100 grams to 300 meters, etc. It's just basically it's the same. It's just a different label on the yarn for those curious. So fun fact. Jen also likes Stylecraft. Yeah, they do have some nice yarns. Lisa says, "Oh, I'll only be buying hand dyed or special yarns if I buy yarn for a long time." Yep. Like if I do have my job in November and they throw some specific yarns back on sale, I may end up getting something from Stanley, but I really shouldn't. I don't have room. Maybe I have more room by then. We'll see. Ideally, I'm trying to declutter my stash and have less yarn than I had in the beginning of the year. Currently, my Excel sheet is flawed, which means that, yes, I do keep track of the yarns, but the total for this year is messed up. So I need to go through my sheet and figure out where I made the mistake, because something is giving me errors. I think cotton yarns in India some Indian cotton yarns are nice, or Egyptian cotton is also nice. I do believe the color crafter is probably also made in Turkey, because I think it's, if I'm not wrong, it's literally the same yarn. It's just a question of the label that's around it. If the price is similar, I will have to go check. Plain. Let's go check for funsies. We can pop over. This would be my Dutch web store where I would be able to get both, so that would be the best place to compare it. So let's start with Stylecraft. Special DK. Right now they are apparently on sale, which is nice. That would be the Stylecraft Special DK. They are €3.30 for me. Normally they're €3.50. So apparently they are on sale right now, or it's just a permanent deal. I don't know. And then we should see, they should have Color Crafter too. They used to. Scrumptious. 2 E's. Scrumptious, soft fun. Here, Color Crafter. It's $3.75. So the Scrumptious might be slightly bit more expensive, but they're quite similar price-wise. Yeah. It's not a huge difference. And if you now look here, you can see how the coloration and how they're listed also on the site is very similar. Oh, here the Stylecraft Special DK has some heathered ones, where the Scrumptious have some ombre ones further down. Not here, but it's their this is the Scrumptious website, the Color Crafter Parade. So they also come in variegated colors. Like this is hot orange. Yes, please. I can see doing mosaic crochet with this and like a black or something like that. I am sold. Yes, I am sold. That's definitely a winner. Our company had a bunch of work contract cancelled on us, not our fault, so our business year isn't going so great right now. So I just have to be a bit frugal with my purchases for a while. Makes sense. Jen says, have they got 400 grams on the website? I don't know. Where is Stylecraft DK made? I do believe Turkey, just like the Scrumptious. I could check because I do have a label right next to me. Give me a moment. I'm not sure if it says Emperor. Yeah. Made for Stylecraft under license in Turkey. So this is Turkish. The color, the Scrumptious Special DK, sorry, Stylecraft Special DK is made in Turkey. And I'm quite sure the Scrumptious is also made in Turkey. For their color crafter. Let's see if we can actually find it. It should say. Else I can first do it next time I come by a place where they actually have it. But I think this is also, oh no, sorry, the Scrumptious color crafter is also created or made in Turkey. But they probably won't write it here. I'm expecting this also to be made in Turkey. They may have some yarns made elsewhere, but I do recall that they are Turkish. Oh, you're quite welcome, man. I can do links. Yeah. Revenant, I can do links. Do you want links for something specific? Susan says that Scrumptious is made in China, though I'm quite sure Scrumptious isn't made in China. All the Scrumptious I've had is not made in China. I do have some Scrumptious upstairs. I don't remember where that's made, but it was in China. Their linen soft is definitely not Chinese. So it could be, if you had a polyester yarn, it's not impossible that could have been made in China. For 6. Meanwhile, it is 3:36 p.m. here in the Netherlands, for those that's curious. That did not hyperlink, but you can copy paste to see the post. So mine didn't hyperlink. Mine did hyperlink, but yours didn't. Yeah, I think only admins are able to. So what I could do is could add you as I could temporarily add you as an admin. So Revenant, you should now be able to place a link if you want to. Lisa's picking up her spinning wheel next week. Nice. Oh, that's gorgeous. Okay. Just to be nice to everyone, I think what I should do here is to do this. We can see it on the big screen. Tomorrow's midnight adaptation anniversary made a double-stranded cat blanket. So I think that's really nice how those colors variate with one another. That's a really nice result of a scrap blanket. Most definitely. I like that. That's nice. Oh, one more blanket. Not too quick to pop away. Yay, purples. I have to say, August has been a really blue month for me, looking at what I've been crafting. It's been quite blue. Also, guys, don't forget to hydrate. Cheers, I do have my tea. I forgot to mention that. I have a Darjeeling tea today. But don't forget to hydrate. Apparently, I hydrate too little, according to whoever did my last, yeah, what would that be? Like I have this measuring thing, body measurement, and it said that I was dehydrating, which I don't feel I am, but henceforth I'm reminding you all to take a sip, because if I'm bad at it, I'm sure others are too. Nice colors. Everybody is applauding Revenant for his work. Corner to corner as a bedspread. Nice. Jen has a cold lemon tea. I'm personally not so keen on cold teas, so my Darjeeling tea is actually warm. Well, it's still warm. It's not so warm as it was in the very beginning of the stream, though, but it's still okay. They all do pretty blankets. Makes me realize how little I do blankets. I have done a few, but it's not Something is odd here. The yarn has a knot, but I think it's a knot from me when I was winding it up. So where is my, here's my needles. Need to unknot it. Goal of hydration is to pee every hour. If I may need to, then it's because I also decided to consume half a melon before our live. I think this got knotted when I wound it up because it's not a yarn knot, it's just a knot. And I'm wanting to untangle it before I'll crochet it. So now I'm untangling yarns. Because there is clearly a yarn knot here, but I'm not really sure yet how this got. There we have it. So, gotcha. Ta-ta! Yarn knot, unknotted, detangled. Ravenna has made so many blankets the last 8 months. Yep, you told me you are the blanket guy. I definitely have made 0 blankets the last 8 months, but I've been working on one the last 8 months. The pronouns, yeah, that is also an iffy thing these days, isn't it? Generally, unless I know a person is transgender, I will always refer them to the gender I believe they are. And I will be told otherwise if I do it wrong. Because I also I know from my earlier life I knew a couple who were homosexuals, which I'm absolutely fine with. But they were both hims. They were just being plain straight, being like, we're homosexuals, but we're also both referring to ourselves and pronouns as him and his. Because just because you're in a rainbow relationship, I should say, maybe, it does not mean that you necessarily have one needs to be the one and one needs to be the other. Both can still be the same. And we have a few hymns, definitely. Most chatters are hers. Yeah, I think that's general because most of us are used to it being females who's crafting. I think it's awesome when it's men who crafts. Like I know my dad once many years ago knit his own sweater. I think he's done one and that's it. But that was back in the days where there was only 2 TV channels and there was not necessarily a movie every night on TV. And there was no internet. There's no cell phones, no nothing else. So it was easier to start crafting to keep your time going, if that makes sense. Where now we have so many distractions in our daily lives that we don't necessarily need to craft to keep occupied. Even games and apps are made it like this that they want you to spend more time in them. because obviously if you spend more time in a specific app, then you're more likely to use your money there. It's business. So games are made in a such way to keep you as long as possible, or to make you view as many stupid ads as possible. Mm. Lisa says, I've tried to get my boys to crochet. They don't have the patience for it. Oh, fair enough. Susan watched 98% on YouTube. You know, YouTube wasn't a thing back then either, right? We're talking about 35 years ago, maybe. And Hele is so kind to remind me to say that back when my dad knit his pullover was when there was only one TV channel in Denmark, and I wasn't born yet. So obviously they had plenty of time to do nothing, I guess, or knit. Ah, fun facts, fun facts. But yeah, so it's more than 40 years ago. So there was no YouTube back then. YouTube is nice though. I do watch a lot on YouTube as well. But right now, these days, Prime has taken a presence. I am watching or re-streaming, re-binging the whole series of Bones. That is what I am doing these days. And when I'm not doing that, then I'm watching YouTube. A few things I keep on track with, and of course, I'm social, popping in on lives here and there. I do believe I was either yesterday or the day before yesterday, I did visit Granny D's live. However, my son-in-law is interesting as I showed him the craft called Crochet. Okay. Lots of different ways to craft. And what's most important is just that we enjoy what we're doing and the process behind it. And what you can see, but what I can tell you is, look how little yarn we have left. We will have to do a change soon. And Provenant is sharing today's project, so I'm just popping over for us to see once it loads. Oh, that's nice color changes. That's for the not poncho, cardigan. Cardigan, that was the word I was looking for. Woohoo! You're ready for the Halloween season with that yarn bowl. Love it actually. But it's nice color transition. I like this. It's nice. Your wife made a good choice. Most definitely she did. Yeah. So. Do, do, do. Jen also says it's a nice project. I do believe that we are more with that opinion. That is gorgeous. Meanwhile, I am just chipping along here. getting closer to this color change. It's Monday. I do have a feeling that I should technically be able to have this one finished this week. But I'm not so sure if I will have it finished before Friday, because I do have a few things before Friday. But having it finished this week is not impossible. Lisa asks Revenant what yarn that is. I do know that it was the puzzle something. And we are back to the hydration part. One would think I would hydrate more often because I'm chatting so much, obviously. That is nearly a full skein of puzzle in half double crochet US term in the colorway Seashore. When I do talk crochet terms, I also talk US terms. I find that is simpler. No offense meant to the UK people. I can read both types of patterns. I can also read Danish patterns. That said, I do need a little bit longer time for the Danish patterns to help myself align with the different terms in different language. Dutch patterns, I guess I should be able to read, but honestly, I've not really jumped into trying Dutch crochet terms much. I know what some of them are named, but it falls more natural to me to do them US English. Apparently, the puzzle looks like a discontinued yarn that Lisa got from Michael's a few years ago. Even Jen uses UK terms in preference to the UK ones, and she's British. Hey, I think that speaks volume. Remnant use stack singles instead of chaining up, so nice straight edge for joining up later. I do also stack. So when I started this one, that's a stacked stack single crochet, two stack singles. I'm a fan of stacking singles rather than chaining to start. I often feel chains makes loose, loopy, skewed. I get you need to change to get the height, unless your option for the stack one. As you can see, there's not much yarn left. We're really edging closer and closer to this color change. So the extra yarn I added here wasn't even a full row, but it's a bit. And honestly, I don't care. I'm just adding them because. So where I didn't add any for the lighter blues, which is, well, you can't barely see that due to how it's laying. There's no extra additions to the light here, but also because the whole shawl increases lengthwise, like the rows get longer and longer. That is why, amongst things, that I chose to do what I did. Unless what I could have done is to have started it all with this light blue instead of having this dark blue center, but I optioned for that because it was possible. And that I already took from the big bowl. Not the current cake, which I still have laying in, but the centers actually work from this, which is much bigger than the other balls that I start working with. So the dark outer edge is gonna be a bit longer. but I still think it's going to be nice. US terms as well is stacked singles. Okay. Jen says, have to head out. Have a great afternoon crafting. Thank you so much. I'll be here for another hour or so. I wish you a great afternoon, Jen. It was wonderful to have you hanging out with us. Roland says, don't mind chaining up if I'm working in the round since it's not noticeable, but for back and forth stacked singles, it's just nicer. And for me, it's easier to keep track of where your final stitches. Also that. Susan is asking me what I will do with the finished shawl. There is a likelihood that I'm going to sell this one. Or let's put it like that. There's a likelihood I will put it for sale, and then we'll see if it sells or if I end up giving it away before it sells. I do have a bunch of shawls laying around. I need to block them, and I am probably going to sell them because, as I mentioned a couple of months ago, I have been working on a web shop, and we are coming closer and closer to a launch date. I just need to actually get moving on it. And the reason that it's been slightly delayed is due to all the changes with the de minimis and so on, because I was planning on opening it up for US as well, which I'm now not going to do until we know what's going to exactly happen. We can all thank that yellow angry haired man for that, of course, with the crazy changes that he's doing. As I say, I think it's administrative work. It's going to cost them more than it's going to deliver. So if they realize that themselves, they may actually option to not continue after the 6 months. That said, what you also see is a change of buyer behavior. And when it comes to buyer behavior, it's unpredictable what the future will bring, because a lot of people is now doing their last minute purchases from abroad, and then a lot less will be doing it after that. Those that's aware of the de minimis and what impact it will have, but you also have the group that's less aware of it. My other whip is a lace weight pure silk shawl. I have to use stitch markers to see my end stitches. I almost never needed to use them. That's kind of what I'm doing here. It's more like it's just for the easiness. It's convenience. I could find them without, but it's part of it is convenience. Most definitely. The same for the tip. It's convenience, just to know where it is. It's quicker. I have used lots of stitch markers when I've done amigurumis and this fluffy polyester yarns. Not that I've done a lot of amigurumis, but I've done a few. I have done a few. Mm-hmm. Also need to figure out what project to start next, shawl wise. That's gonna be a September project. We're probably going to look at the Red Teapot Atelier designs and pick one that I haven't done yet. I think. Also still need to pick which yarn I want to use for it, but that is a whole other story. We have a few options. part of me also genuinely want to really get going on designing new shawls. But if I start doing that, then I will probably have less fibs going on, or yeah, or maybe I'll end up just waiting until after the fleur has been finished. Just a little bit too warm to work on fleur, I think. It's just on the edge, temperature-wise, and it's gonna heat up a little bit. So it's probably gonna be from the September onwards. I'll be back on fleur. Lisa says she got the silk yarn from Ice. It was a steal of a price. See, that is why we do like them. Sometimes they do have steal of prices. I do have some absolutely gorgeous acrylic yarns, actually acrylic with a bit of lurex, and oh my goodness, lovely bronze color with bronze lurex shine in it, which I got from Ice. Oh my goodness. I just need to find out what I'm gonna make it. It's either gonna be a poncho or a cardigan. I am undecided as to what other, but it could also be the cape that Susan mentioned, because that yarn could probably actually work in there. Let's see. Ronan says, I did make a shawl recently. Have only made 3 ever. It came out nice, and he's sharing whichever he made. Oh, that's nice. Shawl for all, patterned by Johan Diana, like Janice Current Jumbo Ombre in blue and blush, molded for my lovely wife. That is gorgeous. And it looks like it's a good fit too. Which I am realizing I'm not sharing, but we could pop over here. That will be the back side and the front side. I love how there's here on top some extra stitches, which is not necessarily the rest. It's a nice one. I like how it comes around. Gives extra warmth. It seems like a really nice and warm shawl. Definitely. A nice and a warm one. It's the 3-pointed shawl, 5-pointed shawl. Okay. Yeah, we spoke of it a few weeks ago, didn't we? It's not that long ago that you finished it, I think. She uses it every day. Then you know you did something good. It was a good gift. Something that gets used every day is a good gift. It's the same with my favorite mug. I got it as a present from my partner. Because I really needed it for work. Sounds crazy. So I put it on my wish list because the job I had at the time sometimes required me to pick up the phone, and then the risk was that I was like 2 hours on the phone and my tea would have gotten cold in my big mug. And I said, I need a thermos. And since I've gotten this, the amount of tea I have to throw away because it's gotten cold has decreased immensely. And the amount of time I'm boiled tea has also decreased because obviously I keep the tea warm. Doesn't mean that I don't get some teas doesn't get thrown out, but it's a lot less than it used to be. So that's nice. I got 250 meters equaling 1,370 yards of lace weight pure mulberry silk from Ice for just 38 Canadian dollars. Nice. Nice. I really feel like I should find all this ice yarn now, but if I do that, you know, the live was finished before I like dug it out from where it is. I know where it is, but there's a few things in the way to kind of easy get it out. So now, as you may see, we have very little yarn left. I am going to chain the 2 before I'm adding the next yarn. So that is just going to lay there, and I'm just going to think it's this one. Just double checking. We have 2 strands of blue, 2 strands of dark blue, 3 strands blue, 1 strand dark blue, 3 strands dark blue, 1 strand blue. So that is definitely this one. So this is what we're going to be adding, because the end of the cake here is also 2 strands of each. But if I add this one first, the ball, then I need to cut once less overall because of how the cake works up. So I will start with the ball, and once this ball is done, we will add the cake back on, and we'll do one color change on the cake before we then add this one back on. And then we'll finish up the cake, and then we'll add this one on to the end. That is as few places to weave in ends as possible, doing it like this. I'm working on a Sislov shawl with it for my mother-in-law. It's in the color gold. It truly looks like actual gold thread. Lovely. Sislov has made some really, really gorgeous, intricate designs as well. And I genuinely want to make some of their shawls too. I guess my idea of making the Red Teapot Atelier shawls is just because I want to have each of them made at some stage. And that's probably why I'm slightly ever so prioritizing making them. Go there. That was one. And then need to skip to the next. And we'll tie a little bow on it so I can keep track of the yarn. But Sislov really made lots of gorgeous shawls. Their patterns is also to be found on Ravelry. I actually have a bunch of patterns on Ravelry where I'm like, I want to make this at some stage. I want to make this at some stage. So I think, yep, there should be a little bit more track on this. Somehow. Just a little bit. Until I weave it in. I will first weave it in once I know everything is good with the other one I did. I've made most of Red Teapot's Triangular shawls. She's actually designing a new one. I'll expect that one to be out in a couple of months. Maybe even less, in a month and a half, knowing her pace. And that looked gorgeous too. She's actually she's launching more patterns than I make of hers. So I wonder if I'll ever get done. But I should genuinely get on working on the next one. It's not launched yet. She's just working on it. I saw it on Instagram. She's on vacation and she brought her craft with her. So she's designing while on vacation. So I can wonder if you're living from designing crochet, if that's really called vacation then. Maybe it's only vacation for your family. I could see if I can find it, maybe. Could give it a try. This is nice too, by the way. She's German designer. She makes this gorgeous stuff, but you'll need to follow the patterns in German. And she also makes, Romy Fisher makes handmade bubbles as well, bubble cakes. So she crafts the cakes and sells the cakes. So I'm like, I want to get some of her cakes too. But I'm trying not to obviously get too many because um, red teapot atelier is what I wanted to find. Here. I'm on holidays in the Mediterranean island and giving the final touches to my next shawl design. Here's a sneak peek to you, all of you saying bye-bye to someone feeling a bit of fluid, like just like me. The silver needle tea shawl. So it's design in progress here. And it's gorgeous. I really like this one. So this one, and I don't see many bubbles. Well, there are some bubbles. Here's bubbles. But it's limited. I like this one. Yep, pending. I am ready. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous, but it's not launched yet, so it's just it's in design process, I guess one would say. Let's see. Yep, like that. So it's in process. That's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. That said, I do feel reasonably comfortable that we are not going to have a second color change because obviously I need to use up all this. I don't think maybe I'll do that in 45 minutes, but I'm not sure. Kind of depends on how chatty we are as well and how much I'll pop around and get distracted from crocheting. But when I'm adding the next yarn to it, it's also not a directly color change. It's just adding the same color again. But we will see how far we get. First of all, what we are going to do now is we are going to work this all the way to the end. And if there are no mistakes, then we can weave in the ends from the previous time I added a new ball of yarn. Because I make sure that there are no mistakes before weaving in my ends, because, well, as we discussed, my ends are like woven in a such manner that weaving them out is, or untangling them is crazy man's work. For the project where I used yarn chicken, could show you guys actually because it's right over there. I'm missing one row. And I had the hope that I would have enough yarn, but the fact is that I don't. And it definitely needs one more row to be finished. So yeah, let's do that just for funsies. It's right here. It's another bucket hat of the Catalina model. And I still have stitch markers because I didn't finish it. This is just my note to the project I had. This is the yarn I have left, and I need one full row. So obviously I lost yarn chicken. What I thought was if I made a model a size smaller, so or the small size, then I might have enough yarn because I used less yarn for the large than I had expected. And I tell you, I lost because I need to in each chain space here I'm working in 5 double crochets, chain 2, 5 double crochets, and then I'm jumping to the next chain space over here and do the same. And obviously I don't even have enough to do, I think, the first tip. So I have the intention of getting one more skein of this yarn. And before just working in this yarn, I am going to check how the lot numbers fit, how the coloration is. Because in worst case, I can just do one row of that slight different color if that's the case, but I don't think it's going to be visible. So yeah, I just need one skein of drops cotton light to finish up this project because I lost yarn chicken. And this one basically says the color I need and what was in there. So that's going back into my zipper. So that is a VIP that I actually have laying around that I'm currently not working on, but it's probably gonna be a September project because if they keep the regular rotation on when they sell what yarn and put what yarns on sale, then I'm probably gonna make a small yarn order in September with Linda Hobbii, where I normally get where I previously also got this particular drops yarn. And it's just one ball, so it's not like a fortune, but you know, that can add on to finishing a project. So that I'll do. Remnant says I use notes with my hook size and yarn used with any long-term VIPs. It's a 3.5mm hook, so that's not an issue either. But yeah, the notes are good in this particular case. And now it's just pending. I already put the single skein in my basket, pending basket. I think it's always good to keep notes, especially if you can't have a permanent needle or hook laying with the project, to help you make sure that you actually get the right sizes. I used to think I will remember, but I've frogged too many VIPs because I forgot what forgot that, and I use notes now. I have not gotten the far past that I need to frog them because I don't remember, but it might happen one day. I do have one project where I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I think I'm gonna end up using the yarns to something else or with something else, and just conclude that the project that I intended to do, which is more than a year ago, it's just not gonna happen. The size and shaping is not desirable, I would say. And yeah, it's not something I would sell either. So I'm probably gonna end up maybe double lining that yarn, double stranding the yarn with different yarns to create a different project, or maybe just to whip up some hats. I think the most curious part I have is, will I end up using more yarn this year compared to last year? One would say yes, because I've been unemployed, but I've also been traveling more. So I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to see. We will have to see. I don't have an issue with frocking in that it doesn't bother me. I got enjoyment from the yarn the first time, so frocking it means I just get to enjoy it again. Valid, valid. That's also what I'm trying to say. The downside is when I've started to weave in ends, then frocking is a pain in the rear. And I'd rather not attempt frocking something where the weave ends are woven into wool. I could technically just sew those sides together and I'd have a pullover vest. I just don't see the fit nice enough, so I don't know if what I'll do with it. Yeah, no. That's gonna be if I want to frock it, it's gonna be a project for a day where I have nothing else to do, like literally no other projects. Yeah, exactly. Frocking something with woven in ends is a pain. That is why I'm not inclined to frock it. And I'm not inclined to finish it either because I did pre-block it, I did check, and I'm like, yeah, no, it's not gonna fit. And the fit, how it's gonna be, it's not gonna be drapey enough for me to think that it's gonna sit nicely. So it's gonna be quite, yeah. Or maybe it would work if I thread 10 to 15 pounds, which I kind of hope I will. But honestly, I don't know what will happen first. But it's sitting in a bag and it's been sitting there since this winter. And it still sits there. So who knows? Maybe in a year or two I'll end up putting it out and say, okay, this is my project that I never finished. And I'm not no sure what I want to do with it. Maybe that's what's gonna end up happening. I used to work on it like once a week, once every morning for my Wednesday morning lives. But yeah, I just don't think the shape and the fit is as desirable as I thought it would be. So I'm just not satisfied with it. These I have a bunch of yarn that's designated for sweaters, but I don't want to make them as I just started a weight loss journey. I can relate. I have some projects where I want to make sweaters, or designated for sweaters, and I'm slightly the same because the reality is, right now compared to back when I was really in top shape, the COVID years gained me probably somewhere between 45 and 50 pounds. It might not look as bad when I'm sitting here, but it's hiding well. So that is why I started back with the fitness. So I am actually going every second to every third day. I am going to the fitness center. I also got a present from my mom-in-law, so she gave me an electrical bike, which means that I've already been biking more than I have for a long time. Like, I even took my bicycle to the fitness center this weekend. So I am active and I am doing stuffs. But yeah, how quickly and efficient and everything, I don't know. We'll have to see. It's I'm a patient person, trying to be patient. Because I know once you pass 30, and I passed 30 quite a few years ago, then that journey does get slightly bit more difficult. And I will have to see, because on Friday I have an appointment Friday afternoon, and I may end up taking the bike to that appointment. That would be really good for me if I do. Hello! Yes, I am live! Hobbii Zabi is around and live with us, or she's with us here. Wonderful to see you. Hope you're having a great day. But yes, I am indeed live. I will be live again on Wednesday. Wednesday afternoon. I'm here for another, well, give or take half an hour. Goodness. Now I need to keep track of this. I will need to detangle slightly ever to keep track of my stitches, yeah? Yes, you're alive. Yeah, that's a good thing too. I'm alive too. Definitely felt alive this weekend because we got stuff done. So Saturday, I didn't get to crochet a bunch Saturday. Saturday, we had an event. We went to a barbecue event. Seeing some people we normally only see in a bit more formal. So it was more informal, because these people we only see at competitions where we all volunteer to be a part of it. And now this time we just actually saw each other outside that. So that was awesome, just to say hello and how are you and hope you're doing fine and all that stuff. Let's see, 6. Oh, apparently I didn't needed to do it, but anyhow. And Sunday we made a house cleaning that was desperately needed. You know, vacuum cleaning, washing the floors and all that stuff, cleaning the showers, all the house cleaning stuff. And once we were done that and waiting for the floor to dry, we took a quick 20-minute nap on the couch, and then we went into the garden and we cut the hedge. And we were pretty wasted afterwards. But we were doing great teamwork, getting it all settled and done and dusted. So it was a quite active Sunday. And I would valid say that there are some regions here in the Netherlands that if we had even considered doing that, they would look at us and saying that you are not allowed to work on a Sunday because it's God's day. Well, we are not that religious, so we don't care. Sabi says, good to know, still not used to the schedules. Usually it's every Wednesday unless I am in Denmark, and then every second Monday, and then whatever randoms in between. Lisa says, my doctor started me on a Ozempic. Please, no negative comments about it. I have a bunch of underlying reasons why I started it. 0 negative comments, Lisa. I am not on a Ozempic myself, but I am a fan that you are, because I do have stocks in Novo, who produces the medication. So of course, I have 0 negative comments. Absolutely nothing. I think it's wonderful that there are opportunities for people who have, let's say, health reasons, who then are able to get help in another way. In this case, I know you have had your surgery and so on with your eyes and stuff like that, so I can imagine that the regular way, so to say, for what everybody says is not always the easiest one. I'm also not sure if what I'm doing will work. It's a hope, because I myself have some underlying issues, such as I do have a autoimmune disease. So I'm always curious as to how long my bottle will last what I'm doing right now. But I'm trying to listen to myself, so maybe it is going to work. Not much more to be said, actually. Hobbii says, I was going to ask you, I need a good shawl half circle crochet pattern to use for cowl for Pride next year. Something that is very repeat, so easy to follow. Do you have some suggestions for one? Half circle. Yeah, well, then obviously this one isn't a good one because it's not a half circle. It's almost a triangular. Half circle, easy to repeat. I think Cami may have one if I'm not wrong. Um, I'm just trying to find her. The Numena shawl might be a good option. Let me switch over here. This one could be a good option. That is somewhat repeat. This looks to be like probably a 6 to 7 row repeat or something like that. That's half circle. Here we pop it up. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 row repeat. Yeah, the Numena shawl. I think this is a 5 row repeat by looking at it. And it doesn't look super difficult either, actually. You're quite welcome. You can also get the pattern. She also sells a pattern on Hobbii if you're more comfortable getting it from Hobbii. I'm not sure if they come in Danish terms. We can have a look, I guess. Hobbii. Oh, no, not Hobbii. Hobbii. DK. Of course, if you don't pick the DK, you won't get the right one. Let's see. K-E-M-E. Christina makes some really gorgeous designs. She's also the one that made the cowl they had this spring, Be Your Own Star, but I'd rather want her patterns. No, not her Instagram. The patterns, why don't they list them here? Designer, yes please. Me Crochet. Oh, there it was. Yeah, it's here. You can also get it on Hobbie's website if you want the Danish terms rather than English crochet terms. So, a fast project, only a few stitches, perfect for beginners to test off shawls, blah, blah, blah. I do think it's literally just a 5 or 6 row repeat by looking at it. Gorgeous. That would be my recommendation for a half circle shawl. Yeah. Lisa says, have several autoimmune diseases. I can imagine. Happy says, I am too for PCOS since February, and it's been very good for me and all the effects I've had from PCOS. Oh, that's awesome. I do only think that it's named something different on the Danish market. Many people have pancreatic issues beside diabetes, like myself. I've had chronic pancreatitis since I was a child and not diabetic, but PCOS is if you're one of the effects. Don't let judgment get to you. Exactly. I don't judge anyone. And the thing is, especially with autoimmune diseases, it's not always showing on the outside of us. So don't judge a person before you know the whole story. That's my point of view. I am personally since 2016 diagnosed with morbus Bechterew, which is what would you call it? Let's see if I can even pronounce it. Ankylosing spondylitis, I think they would call it. which is basically rheumatoid arthritis in my lower back and hips. And it gives you the wonderful side effects of suddenly needing to sleep. Like, suddenly you can be immensely tired for not having done anything at all. Sometimes back pain. It's gotten less. I am on biologicals, which is a crazily expensive medication, where I get the pleasure of injecting myself once every 2 weeks. This handmade has a few beautiful ones too. I don't know how easy the repeats would be. We're multi-language and I don't know how to crochet in Danish despite being Danish. Well, same. Well, I think I do know how to crochet in Danish, but generally I prefer English, especially US termed English. But yeah, check prices. Either Hobbii, if you log in on, if you have a Hobbii account and you log in on your Danish Hobbii account, even on the English sites, and get the US termed, it will still add points to your point shop if you are into that. And else check prices on Ravelry and just see what price fits you better, I would say. And Christina, who makes them, is a gorgeous. She makes really gorgeous, intricate designs too. I have a few of her patterns laying around. The others in the cowl don't crochet in Danish either. Makes good sense. And as Lisa say, yes, often you can't see the autoimmune diseases. Exactly. So don't judge people on the shell if you don't know the content, is what I would say, if you don't know the whole story. We have Ozempic and Wegovy, but Wegovy is only given for weight loss, but Ozempic is for people with diabetes, and dispensation can be given to those with issues like me in Denmark. Ozempic is government subsidized, but Wegovy is not, which is crazy actually, because it's pretty much the same medication. It's just two different names. Lisa's Graves' disease, autoimmune hyperthyroidism, Raynaud's syndrome, and Thorets disease. Mayflower has some really nice stuff too. And they have recently started to ship to the Netherlands, so I may eventually get myself a little yarn from them. But right now, obviously, I am having a stash I need to destash a little. Revenant must be off. Happy stitching all. Take care, Revenant. I wish you an absolutely wonderful Monday. Maybe I will see you Wednesday morning. That will be Wednesday morning your time, and not Wednesday morning my time. That would be my Wednesday afternoon. So around the same time as today, depending on how work flows. I do a few things I need to do this week at work, which means that it is up for a busy week at work. Lisa says goodbye to Revenant, and Happy Sappy says they had to give it a new name for new use, so it would be a different unsubsidized prescription. That makes good sense. It's basically the same, like you can buy two types of cookies in Denmark, which are the exactly same content, produced on the exactly same factory, but one is a brand and one is not. So those you have sometimes too. They're completely the same. But for weight loss, they're allowed to be prescribed higher dosage if they don't have any other illnesses. Yeah, okay, fair enough. I think the only thing is people need to keep in mind that especially those who's not getting it due to illnesses, but only pure for the weight loss purpose of things, that eventually they will need to adapt their lifestyle um, if they want to get out of using it. And that is what a lot of people kind of forget, I think. You also have people afraid of going out because what if? None of them are government subsidized in Canada. Well, Denmark is a little bit different because Denmark has a really, really great healthcare system. Free healthcare for things you need, so to say. Like if you break a leg, you go to the hospital, you don't need a health insurance or anything like that. It's just handled by government because you pay your tax. So it's a governmental social security system, so to say, for your healthcare. But that doesn't mean that if you feel like getting something, you can't just get it unless you have a good reason to get it. And that is why, because a lot of people obviously wanted to get Wegovy for the weight loss purpose, that they also had to make an unsubsidized version, so they wouldn't need to be forced to have a specific reason for getting it, except for they want to lose weight. We have free healthcare in Canada, but medications aren't a part of it. Well, luckily they are in Denmark. They haven't had people on it for more than 5+ years, but the hope is their stomachs will shrink, but most likely it will be lifelong since they need the injections, which just looks like. Hobbii Azalea says she's a member of the Danish diabetes training. So diabetes is basic, yeah, diabetes is diabetes, and they write a lot about it. And yeah, I can imagine they do. And generally, if you can teach yourself to eat less as well and decrease portion size, and technically your stomach will shrink to get used to eating less. So it is possible, but I think a part of that is also the need of self-control and self-perseverance is something that not a lot of people do have. And now we're talking about this group that wants to option for the easy way of losing weight by paying for it for the Wegovy, and not by those who gets it for a really good medical reason, if that makes sense. Denmark, you have a maximum of self-payment a year, then it's 95% subsidized. Yeah. Here it depends on the medication. I get my injections are roughly 800 euros or so a month, and that's paid by my health insurance. But it's only paid because my specialist says I need this. So it's the hospital demanding that I get it, and else they wouldn't pay for it. I would have to pay myself. And if that came to be the case, I probably would consider going back to a different medication that would be cheaper though. But what I really like about the current medication is the fact that I don't need to remember to take X pills every day. Lisa says, I don't eat a lot. I've been tracking my calories as part of the journey. I'm around 1,000 calories a day, but with my autoimmune diseases, my metabolism is gone. Yes, I can relate to that, not from myself personally, or well, partially personally, but also I know from my mom has a metabolic disease. as well, and she's been eating very little. And for many years, she didn't lose weight. Now she did lose a lot, but that was because she barely ate because of, well, cancer is shit. Um, and yeah, OOA can be a side effect of health problems and medications too, of course, but those are just overeaters will need it for the rest of their life. Exactly, that's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. So those who can't control their intake of food. Who further than that belong to the group of people we would call further no issues, except for the fact they are just overeaters. And the thing is, food is nice, right? It definitely is. I personally have had periods of probably also eating a bit too much. Definitely, the thing is, so for me, COVID put a full stop on all sort of activities that I did, and therefore I became really inactive. On top, I had a job that forced me to become inactive. Combined, of course, obviously, with the fact that I do have a what I want to call it, the autoimmune disease. So all these things combined is kind of what gave me a good 45, 50 pounds extra over the years of COVID. So basically, compared to now, compared to, yeah, compared to just before COVID, I'm solidly in kilos, like 20, 25 kilos heavier than I used to be. Yeah. And it's not something I'm happy about because it's definitely not what I'm supposed to be, top shape. Habits are the same. Got arthritis in my back and I gained 20 kilos in 7 months due to not being able to be active. I lost it all again, but it was rough. Well, I'm in the path now where I'm like, I need to lose it all again, except, damn, I just need to get it done, basically. As in, I need to get started. I also need to weave in this end. I haven't done that yet. I should do that as well. So I'm going to weave in that. From the not the last we changed, but the one just before in the very, very beginning of this live. I'm going to do that. Now I just need to get the yarns on my needle. And the thing is, a lot of people has been shocked when I told them how much it actually is. Like, I've told them how bad it is. They're like, I don't believe you. I don't believe it's that much. You could convince me to say, like, I look like I've maybe gained 10, max 15. And I'm trying to tell them, yeah, but it's 20 plus. And they're like, what? And I'm like, yeah. Hiding it very, very well is basically what I can say. Since February, when I got on Zempic for my PCOS, I bled for 8 months due to hormones acting of arthritis and inflammation, but since February, I've lost 24.4 kilos. That's awesome. It could almost make me wonder if I should check with my doctor if that could be an option for me as well. But I am first trying to see if I can do it the regular way. And if not, then it's worth considering. But way to go, you. Mad respect. Because it's not just that alone. You still need to be mindful of what you do. You can eat all the medication you want, but if you still don't be a little bit mindful, I'm not sure how much it's really helping. It's all gone now, so I'm happy with it. Yeah, of course, I would be too. My keratosis in my skin is less as well, so all inflammation is way down due to the Ozempic. Oh, that's nice. That is definitely nice. Now I need to keep track of the two ends here. And this is not the same length, so I'm gonna cut a little bit of this yarn just for the easiness of threading my needle. Lisa says only started it 3 weeks ago, but I'm down 7 lips already, so I'm pretty happy with it. That's still good progress. Yeah, and it's not good if it's gone too fast. I recommend still moving around and trying to be active, because then there is less chance of the classic floppy skin. And that is why I personally will try go the normal way, so to say. Because I have this slight hope that once some of it does go away, then I may not need any surgery or whatever. And I have the energy to do it compared to what I used to have, because my old job did definitely not allow me any sort of reprieve on that account. That was a stressful job, which, due to, amongst things, made me also become quite inactive. So in so many aspects, it was a really bad job for me. While the job itself, in the sense of it was enjoyable because I was challenged, it was just not very good for my health. So I'm not missing it. I actually very much like my new job. Do, 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 do. Do you feel anything else better yet, like the information, Lisa? We'll get some information on that. And if you're overweight or older, the flabby skin will happen regardless. Well, I'm afraid that is true. That said, my mom, due to the cancer, lost a good, and now brace yourself, 40 plus kilos. And her amount of loose skin has mainly only concentrated around the belly, and it's quite limited. And when I look at my belly and the size I gained around my belly, we are talking about maybe 1 to 1.5 size, clothing size. So it's, fuck, I cut the wrong yarn. Shit. Yeah, that's an official shit. Shite. I just took the wrong strand. But I can't even see where I worked in that and what's here. Well, that might come undone, Stina. That was not very clever. I should have, that was wrong. I should have cut this end. Chili. It's over here somewhere. I don't even see it. Maybe I've done it good enough, but I think that might just come undone. Holy crack. I genuinely took the wrong strand and cut it before I had woven in the end, but I don't see it anymore. I generally don't see it. Oh, maybe we'll be fine. Maybe I'm lucky. My inflammation in my eyes is way down, which is where I have most of my inflammation, which is great news. Absolutely. Don't care about the excess skin. I'm not super overweight, but enough that there will be likely loose skin. I need to lose about 40 pounds total. Excuse my language, but fuck cancer. Agreed. Fuck cancer. Totally agree. I genuinely don't know how I just managed to do this, but I cannot even find my end that I cut that shouldn't have been cut just yet. I can't see it. I can't see it. I can see this one. That's the one I should have cut. So let's just cut that one before I forget. But I cut the other one that I should have woven in first. Holy smokies. But since I don't see it, I guess it's gonna be fine. I hope it's gonna be fine. I really hope it's gonna be fine. Genuinely, I don't see it, but I don't think I actually wove it much in at all. So I'm genuinely concerned that it will come undone, but I don't see it, so I guess we're gonna be fine. What do you think? Should I be fine? If I don't see it, we should be fine, right? Like, I'm almost nervous now. Just double checking all these ends. It's up here, I think. That's too far ago. I think it's here. But I don't see it. Okay, I hope that that we will be fine. Else it's gonna suck. I don't know how I managed to do this, but it's yeah, new world record for me. I don't know how I did this. I can't find the end that I didn't weave in, which I cut. Looks old. I'm happy, I guess. Still needs some to go, but I don't know where my end is, and like I'm trying to pull it, and it looks just like it's not coming completely undone. So we should be fine. That was a negative positive surprise. We do have so much to go on this one, but I'm not going to reach to do more today. At least not during this live. I will be honest. That's just a reality of how things are. Because, my friends, it's almost 5 p.m., which means that it's slowly time for me to close down everything and prepare for cooking dinner. I still don't know how I did that with the end, but wow. Happy says loose ends makes me my hiney itch. Yeah, well, I'm itching because I don't know if this is gonna work out or not. But I can't find it, so it's gonna be fine, I guess. Looks like it's woven in, but I can't find it, so maybe it's okay. Lisa asks, she said, any negative side effects? Happy says, when I got from 0.5 to 1.0, I was slightly nauseated in the mornings, about 3 to 4 days after injections, when my doctor instructed me to use thighs instead of belly, and it stopped. I stayed on 1.0. Since with no problems. An acid reflux too, but some antacid chews, and it's gone now too as well. Okay, cool. Generally thighs are better for injections, I would say. that is also what I am using. Not for Sempic because I don't have a Sempic, but for my what's a Humira? Um, if you soak and wet block the and the end holes, you should be fine with the end. Yeah, I'm gonna try that, and then I hope it's not gonna unravel. I still don't know how I managed to do that. Like, why didn't I think this end seems long? I should just, when I weave in more of these ends in this project, I will make sure I weave in both ends before I cut the tails. That is my new rule. But yeah, thighs. My experience with thighs are the best. I was instructed for my medication for the ankylosing spondylitis to use my thighs. And also what's important, because you do get old tissues, scar tissues from injections, is that you change the spot on your thighs and you change the tie. So if you do it weekly or bi-weekly, doesn't matter. But if last time you did it in right thigh, then next time you do it in the left thigh, and you kind of jump back and forth, that is better for your health. But that's just quick fact. All my other medications has been in my backside. Ouch. Never done that. Never done that. Not that I'm happy with the fact of injections either, but I have to say I do better on them than I do off them. And that's also proven by the numbers. My inflammation numbers are also down from the injections, so that's positive. Anyhow, it is what I say, 5 p.m. I really point one. I can feel now that I ate a melon for lunch, half a melon. So I need to use the toilet. And point two, I need to close you guys down because I need to prepare for dinner. It's 5 p.m. But I will be back on Wednesday from somewhere between 2 and 2:30-ish p.m. Central European Time, if everything goes well. I will see you all on Wednesday if everything goes right. And I'm gonna say it was absolutely. Oh, I should show it. I could show what I've done so far. Sure. Oh my goodness. Oh, moment. My yarn went rolling. And that is not a good thing. But sure, I can show it. I should probably. Let's see. I need to. So I can see what I'm actually doing. Ta-ta! This is where we are at. Can't see the tip. Only way to do that would be to remove my chair fully, which I can't do. I guess. There we have it, with everything in its sights. And we have still quite a bit to go, so we are growing. We are growing. Definitely growing. So the outer edge is going to have the exact same colors. This right now looks black, but it is a really dark navy. Definitely looking forward for that. And I do hope that I can reach to do that this week. That will be kind of awesome if we can finish it. Everybody says thank care, thank you, caught alive, happy, love you all. And Susan says, good luck with my online shop. Thank you. You will hear more about it quite soon. I will do some revealing here on the channel, including logos, links to the store, etc. for those that is curious. I was thinking of maybe also doing some regular updates as to how it's going, etc. as well. More on that later or another day, not now. There will be a video about it. I'll promise you that. So I'm going to say thank you so much for hanging out with me. Love you all. I had a wonderful time. If you're rewatching this live and you got so far, thank you so much for your support. I very much appreciate it. Goodbye, everyone. And if I'm lucky, I will see you all on Wednesday when I'm back live. Take care. Bye.